will actually improve your grammar. Okay, because you can make more, it drives communication basically. I don't mind. I do give, I ask questions like, is it future? I might even ask, is it a plan or is it a decision now? I might still use some of those ideas as a guide. What it affects is how I think about when I hear the students producing their language. And I'm going to be not very critical of them, not looking to necessarily correct them in terms of the meaning that we've given, because the meaning is fuzzy. They may have in their mind they've matched the meaning correctly, but we can't have that, the discussion doesn't come from that. The use, the accuracy doesn't come from that. Because the grammar is not a building block, it occurs through usage, through hearing it over time. It's not coming from one lesson. So we can give a lesson on grammar, but that's not when it's learnt. It's learnt over time, over a long period of time sometimes. Accuracy takes time. It comes from lots of exposure, meaningful communication. Sometimes it will never occur. Perhaps most of the time it will never occur. It takes such a long time, we might ask ourselves, for an elementary student, is it a good goal to have at all? My belief is not really.
No.
Which is why I prefer to be driven by enabling a conversation, and at the end of it, if you try and have the conversation with me tomorrow in Andrewish, you probably will forget half of it, but you know, doesn't matter. We've kind of established that we can maybe make some efforts, like my conversation with the taxi driver, which I can guarantee you was very inaccurate, but we kept it going. I would like to see teaching, therefore, grammar as vocabulary to begin with. This is why we did the what you got in the dialogue building. And I would actually like to see more grammar actually taught at the lowest levels. I mean, taught, I would say more seen. So, for example, I would like to see in text, in a beginner book, we do have should, just as an example, where they check the meaning. But I'd like to see should, must, could, would, have, to. You know, I'd like to see more of these grammar words. All those modal verbs are in the top 60 most common verbs in English. But some of them don't get taught till halfway through pre-intermediate. What I'm not imagining is they're going to be accurate, because I think the accuracy comes over time and through exposure, and the exposure has to start a bit earlier. So that's another reason for that having this kind of word building, or using the students' efforts to say things. When you correct the students, they're probably going to try and say things like should, must, because that's what they want to say. So I would correct it, I'd give it to them. We don't have to practice it at this moment. We don't have to tell them everything about it. They'll do the practice later on. And then as a result, perhaps, like my example of the Smalacom, yes Malaka, when I come to study the instrumental case, or whatever it is it instrumental or prepositional or whichever it is, I will have, instead of having like 6, I don't know, so 10 different endings which I have to try and remember, at least I've got a couple already to that's like Malaka. Yeah, so I've got something to hook onto. And then finally, the biggest thing is that we're teaching more vocabulary, but we're teaching the vocabulary with the grammar. So you're constantly seeing the grammar in action.